In this lesson, we're going to talk about the different kinds of solid drip tubing that we're going to use to supply water out to the areas that we need. And we have a couple of different choices, and we're going to cover all these in this lesson and in the next one about drip applicators. But generally what we're dealing with is a piece of solid tubing, and our choices are that we can insert a dripper right into the tubing to apply water right here at this spot. We can use some 1/4 inch spaghetti tubing to get away from the 1/2 inch tubing and supply into a pot or just another plant that's away from the area. Or we can use that to supply micro sprays, bubblers, and other things. But let's talk about the tubing first. First off, let's just get out of the way here that there is a black flexible tubing that's 1/2 inch. This is called flex pipe, swing pipe, funny pipe. It goes by a couple of different names. But this is generally what we use to supply a sprinkler head. You know, we branch off from a PVC pipe and have some flexible pipe going out to the head. But if you'll notice here, this has a thicker wall. And this is generally not what we're going to want to use for a drip system just because it's really hard to get the barbs poked into this. I have used this on a couple of very special occasions just when I need something super durable that a critter couldn't chew through or wouldn't get all the way through. And sometimes this thinner walled pipe, you know, the chipmunks and so forth get a taste for it and they'll chew right through it. But we're not going to be talking about this, so let's set this aside and let's just talk about the solid delivery tubing here that generally comes in either a black or a brown. Usually when you get the brown solid tubing here, now not to be confused that the drip line that has drippers molded into the pipe at certain intervals looks just like this. You just have to make sure you're getting the solid or the drip line style. So what we have here is it's labeled as a 17 millimeter tubing. When you get a black tubing, it could be 17 millimeter, but it could be 1/2 inch. Boy, it looks really close, but the inner and outer diameters are different from this. I picked this particular pipe up from a large hardware store, maybe a Home Depot or Lowe's or something like that, but it's labeled as a 1/2 inch delivery tubing. And it probably carries a little bit more water than what we're going to talk about here, but our stats as far as how much flow that this type of tubing can deliver is generally 3.5 gallons per minute or 210 gallons per hour. Now, when it comes to this larger piece here, I suspect that this is larger than what those numbers are intended for, but you kind of have to stick with what you know to be true if you can't find specific friction loss chart for this product. And a lot of stuff doesn't have specific charts printed on the label or whatever. Maybe you could find it by directly contacting the manufacturer, but I haven't had a whole lot of luck at chasing those kind of numbers down. But let's also talk about our 1/4 inch here. You know, this is called spaghetti tubing, and it also comes in a little thicker and a little thinner, more kind of vinyl feeling construction. I generally like to use the thicker walled stuff. It's pretty durable and it can bend and you can tack it up in different places and it does just fine. And what we have here is a flow rate of 17 gallons per hour. So let's not get confused with our gallons per minute and gallons per hour. So all these drip products are rated in gallons per hour. Now we want to, take a look at our larger flow rate for this pipe at 3.5 gallons per minute when we're calculating the size of the pipe that we need to use and so forth, and the flow rates on the larger end, the macro end. But once we get down here to the micro, to the drip, we're going to want to convert everything into gallons per hour, and that'll give us, our calculations. And like I said, this is 17 gallons per hour. So now let's talk about some of the fittings that are available for this, and we don't want to get these mixed up. But generally the brown fittings are labeled as the 17 millimeter fittings. And we've only seen one situation to where one manufacturer's fittings didn't quite line up with another manufacturer's 17 millimeter tubing. We think that was just a specific instance of a mismanufactured product. But it's always good if you're going to be installing one brand to go ahead and get the fittings that match up with that brand, whether it's NetFM or Hunter or Rainbird or Toro. But let's talk about the different things that we have here. We have a coupling. You can have a four-way cross, a T, obviously. And let's look at some of the other things here. This is a female adapter that goes from hose thread to your 1/2-inch barb or 17mm barb here. And you can screw this onto an outside hose bib or faucet and then just go on with your drip zone and then just turn that on manually. Or you could even put a battery powered timer on this that they make, and you can get in the garden department of most hardware stores to run a little small drip zone on the side of your house or whatever. And we use that from time to time. But you can also get a male adapter by 17mm barb, and this is generally what we use to start off a line. And I like to use the 3/4 instead of the 1/2. I always like to go with a larger supply type for a couple of different reasons. And let's look at here at this PVC fitting that we would typically use to branch off and start one of these. It's a 1-inch slip by 3/4 inch threads here, and when you put this in, this is where your supply is going to start. And the reason I like these larger adapters here with the larger holes, that if rocks get shot down into this line, say if you have a pipe break, upstream, and rocks or debris gets down in there, you can unscrew this and get that stuff out. Sometimes if you use the fittings that just have the barb that's molded in, you don't get that choice. And I always like to use the larger 3/4 inch fittings rather than a 1/2 inch. That's personal preference. Now, we also have here a fitting that is barb by a 3/4 inch female thread. And this is what you're going to want to use when you put your vacuum relief valve. And on most drip lines, you probably want to put a vacuum relief valve at the highest point in that particular line so that when the system shuts off, you're not getting a pull of the water back into the line from a vacuum effect. It breaks that vacuum and allows the water to run out. Otherwise, you might be pulling sand or dirt back into the emitters, and that's not what we want, especially in drip line that's covered up or subsurface. So those are the fittings that we're going to want to use on our 17mm. But what if we're using a larger size, or we want to adapt over and use what we have on our truck to fix a particular situation that we've been called out to? So we're going to use what Rainbird produces here, and it is called the Easy Fit Compression System. It used to be called the Multi-Diameter Compression System, and you may still see some boxes labeled with that, but in the literature it's now called the Easy Fit Compression System, and it's meant to cover all these different sizes. If you have the 1/2 inch or if you have the 17mm tube, it'll fit both of them. And the way it does that is there is a little white insert here that has to go on the inside of the tubing that you're inserting, and then the outside has flanges that grab a hold of the pipe and can expand to a little bit larger size than what the insert is. So when you're putting this on, the only recommendation is just make sure that your little white insert is lined up. And sometimes when you cut this pipe, when you're using your pipe cutters here and you cut a section of pipe off, what happens is it'll distend or maybe even crimp in the inside cut here. Sometimes it flares it out, but most of the time it kind of pinches it in or flares it inwards. So it's okay to take your finger and kind of flare that out, or use the back end of your cutters here and just slightly flare that outside out so that when you go to put it on the insert, it doesn't have a problem. And then you have to push this all the way in. So make sure that it seats. The problem is it's tough sometimes, and if you're gripping it back here, you can bend the pipe as you're putting it in. So grab it close and make sure you work it all the way down to where it seats on that inner lip. And we could do that on this, and it would line up, and we would have a great connection here between the two different sizes of pipe. So this comes in a coupling. It comes in a T. We also have an elbow configuration, and there is a series of connections, both male and female, that are designed to fit into one side of this. Now, if you look at this here, the barb or the insert connection, you might think that this is meant to insert directly into the tubing, but it won't. It don't have a barb connection in there. It's actually designed to fit into here and lock into place so that you can adapt over from maybe a connection like this and go this way if you needed that multi-diameter fitting right there. So we have a couple of different ways of doing that. Now let's talk about the 1/4 inch tubing here. We have a number of different fittings that happen with that. Of course, we have a T, but I don't think that they make an elbow in this. If they do, I've never seen it in the supply charts. As something that's available, maybe if by special order you can find them, but I've just never seen them. And this is a coupling, and these are insert barbs, and they're sharp on the end, and they're actually meant to be pushed directly into the pipe. But I haven't had a whole lot of success with that. Generally, what we're going to use is our hole punch to push it in there. So we're going to take a look at that in the next lesson as we go through and do some of this specifics as far as the drip applicators. But just want to show you the parts that's available now is our coupling and our T. And you'll also have a goof plug here that may have a smaller plug and a larger plug. I like this kind. I believe this is a Rainbird product here, so that depending on the type of hole or the size of hole that you need to plug, you could plug a smaller one. Or if a dripper was in here and got pulled out and kind of pulled the hole a little larger, you can use the fatter version and just make sure that you use your hole punch and widen the hole before you push this one in, but it'll seal it up really good. And then of course you have a drip stake that goes down into a planter or in the ground to hold your pipe in place, whether you have a dripper on the end or a dripper at the beginning. But we'll take a look at all of that setup in the next lesson. And there's a couple more things that we're going to want to look at here while we're discussing the drip tubing itself. Let's actually take a look at some of the tools. And I always keep around a hole punch. Like I said previously, these small fittings are barbed in a way that they're supposed to be able to be inserted into the pipe. And you can do that, but I always like to pre-punch a hole with this thing first. And we have a little tool here that helps us push in our drippers. You can put the dripper in here and it'll hold it while you push it into the tube. And I tell you what, let's just go ahead and poke a hole here in this tubing and let's demonstrate a couple of things here. Let's say that we put our emitter in. Make sure it seats in there. This tool has a couple of things here. You have a little piece here that'll allow you to get up underneath the dripper or the fitting and pop it back out. And you also have a fitting on the back here, a little hole that'll allow you to push in your goof plug, and it just gives you a little bit of stability. Sometimes if your hands are wet or dirty and working with these little small parts, it's hard to get it forced in, especially if you're working at ground level. So I always like to keep one of these tools around that'll allow you to push your drippers in on this side, push your goof plugs in on this side, and it gives you a little bit of leverage to push down in there and seat the things. But now let's say that you're out there in the field and not everything is working out as planned, or you may not have all the parts, or you may be in a situation that's really tight and sometimes you just have to do things that aren't optimum. Happens to me all the time. So what I like to do when you're dealing with this kind of drip tubing is I keep pinch clamps around. There are other types of clamps, and we cover this in the piping systems course, where there are, worm drive clamps that you can use a screwdriver to tighten up. These are just simple pinch clamps. And there are times to where you have to use an odd size piece of pipe and attach it here to this kind of fitting because you have no other choice. So what I recommend to do is slip your clamp in over first. And if you put it on here, now as you feel this, once this thing comes under pressure, it may blow out, but for sure it's going to leak. But you can feel where the barbs are in the pipe. So just set your little pinch clamp between the barbs. You don't want to clamp down right on the barb for fear of breaking it. But if you pinch down between the two, it'll work out really good for you. And you just take your pinch clamp here and put it on there. And when you clamp this down, it's going to seal this up pretty good. This isn't the best case scenario, but I like to give you everything because sometimes you're going to get out there in the field, or maybe you're 30 miles away from the nearest supply house or hardware supply or something like that. So I like to keep a number of different options around because sometimes you just got to get creative when you're there at the spot because there's no room or no potential to change up to an optimum setting. But these are just things that I like to keep on the truck. And one last piece here is that you can buy a pre-constructed little figure 8 loop that's designed for slipping over the pipe first, and then you pinch this over and slip it back up and it holds it in place. It's black and it kind of blends in. If that's what you want to do, then that's great. But I generally don't use those. What I do is I just cut a piece of thin-walled 1-inch pipe and just push it over and double it. And it works great, but the little bit of white here helps you visually see where the end of the pipe is. And sometimes on these systems, if you're using a lake pump or particularly a well pump, even if you have a filter on it, it'll still pull up a little bit of grit and push it down here at the end. So on some of the agricultural systems that I maintain, once or twice a year, we'll go through and just open the ends up and turn the zone on and push all of that micaceous sand or the little glittery sand that comes out the end of these. So I like to do that just so I see where the white is and I can see where the end of the drip line is, because this stuff really works best when it's covered by an inch or two of mulch and then it kind of disappears. So I like to leave that, or you can even just put a little flag on it to indicate. But those are the things that we do here with the drip tubing. In our next course, let's talk about the drip applicators.